Hello and welcome to another episode of the Real Estate Investing Club. I'm your host, Gabe Peterson, and this is the place investors go to gain actionable advice, learn about current market trends, and hear war stories from other professional investors out there in the field today. Before we get started, I have two quick housekeeping items for you. First, if you like this episode, we would very much appreciate a like, subscribe, and share. It is the best way to support the show and keep it running far into the future. Second, if you're a new investor looking to get started in real estate or an experienced investor looking to take your investing to the next level, I've created an ebook just for you that will cover how to find deals that are actually deals, how to finance those deals with little to no money down, and how to exit those deals for maximum value. On top of that, I throw in an insane amount of free bonuses that you'll have access to once you buy the ebook. All I charge is our admin costs to keep this show running. So if you're serious about real estate investing and want to create both active and passive income as an investor, head on over to the website at therealestateinvestingclub.com and click on the button that says get the ebook in the upper right-hand corner to grab yourself a copy. With that said, let's dive right in. Today we have a very special guest with us, ready to drop some investor knowledge on you. So buckle up, grab your pen and paper, and enjoy the ride. All right. Welcome back to another episode of the Real Estate Investing Club. Today we have with us Stephanie Walters. Stephanie is I missed the line. There we go. Stephanie is a legacy cash flow specialist, capital raiser, syndicator, real estate investor, and the CEO of ERB Wealth. I hope I said that one right, Stephanie.
Close.
She recently retired and sold her insurance agency of 16 years by following the key principles she teaches professionals to use. She teaches professional people to unlearn what most of us have been wired to think about money and re-educating people on attaining wealth that can be passed on to the next generation. She is a gateway between these professionals and well-vetted deals. We are very excited to have Stephanie with us today. She is hailing from Colorado. So Stephanie, thanks for hopping on the show.
Well, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. As I mentioned before we hopped on here, we always start with stories. We're big story buffs here. So why don't you tell us your story? How did you get started in real estate?
Sure. Well, I started in real estate, investing in real estate in my 30s. I've always loved real estate. But I started buying single family homes. My goal was to buy like one every year. I was kind of on track. And then around 2009, I got married and had a kid, and that sort of derailed me a little bit. But no, I've always loved real estate. It's something I always understand. I talk to people about the stock market. Is just not something I really ever fully understood. So that's why I felt much more comfortable being in real estate. I can tell you that I had a lot of, learning that occurred with being a landlord.
Oh yeah.
Not the best, a lot of learning the hard way, because I wasn't very educated in it. But in 2016, I kind of I became curious about apartments and doing things on a larger scale, and got hooked up with RE Mentor, which is a training and really good training. It's basically, I tell people, like getting a master's in commercial real estate and, underwriting deals and raising money and all that great stuff. And I took my first syndication down in 2016 by myself. I realized that I never, ever wanted to do it by myself again. Because it's a lot. It's a lot of work and a lot of stress, a lot of responsibility. So I met my partner through RE Mentor, and he loves to find deals. He loves to negotiate with the brokers. He loves to do the due diligence and all that stuff. And I found that I really like to raise money. And so we partnered together, and now we're on our 6th deal together.
Very nice.
And just found that I really love raising money. My background is actually I was an insurance agent for 16 years, but found like the skill set is pretty similar to being an insurance agent because I like getting to know the investors, having a personal relationship because it really is a relationship type of business when they're, trusting you with their money and a
Yeah.
lot of it.
Yep.
But also they've given a lot back to me because I'm able to get to know them and their financial situations and really open my eyes to how they view money.
Mm-hmm.
And once I did that, I moved my money around, kind of monkey see, monkey do, did like they do, and now I'm able to retire at the end of this month. I'm selling my business back to farmers.
Oh, wow.
That's the company I'm
Congratulations.
with. Yeah, thanks.
That's awesome.
And I get to do this full time.
Heck yeah. I love
Yeah,
hearing those stories.
yeah,
And oh, sorry, was that keep going?
yep. No, that's it.
All right,
That's my
perfect.
story.
I love that, and this is by no means like super late in your life, but you did get a little bit later start than a
Yep.
lot of people do. You're in your 30s. Do you know exactly
Nope.
like
I
mid?
was in my 30s when I started doing just the single family.
Mhm.
I was 45 when I did my first syndication. So
That is awesome.
yeah, so
You
it's a lot.
People always use age as an excuse to not get
Yeah.
into real estate, not do anything really. You can use age for whatever excuse you want to come up with, but that really
Mhm.
is an excuse, and you're one to show. You got started single family in your 30s.
Uh-huh.
And even, I'm 34, and I've heard some of my friends who haven't been in real estate, they're like, oh, I'm too old. I've missed the
No.
boat. No, man, you're not too old. Just get in there, buy a house. You got plenty of years ahead of you. So
That's
that's
it.
awesome. You got started. And it sounds like you chose real estate because it made sense. And I love that you said that. I am the exact same way. It's like the
Mhm.
stock market. I get it. It goes up, goes down. More people buy a stock, the price goes up, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, there's no real structure. There's nothing that I can hold on to and be like, yes, that is the value. And so
Mhm.
that
Yeah.
totally makes sense that you chose real estate. Um, so a few things popped out in my mind when you're going through your story. The first thing that you said was you really did not like doing the deal by yourself. You did
Yeah.
that first syndication. You raised the money. I'm sure you project managed the deal itself if there was any
Mhm.
value add there. You found the deal. You just too much stress, and I can totally associate with that. So something that a lot of investors struggle with is finding good partnerships and setting up good partnerships. And, I've had my own struggles in the past. It's really difficult to find people whose skills align because a lot of
Mhm.
people, their skills are kind of the same. And if you're both doing the same thing, then it's not a good partnership. So what have
Mhm.
you found when it comes to really solidifying a partnership and getting it? I mean, you guys have done 6 deals, so it sounds like you've gotten a rhythm, what you're doing, you each are in your own lanes. How
Mhm.
did that kind of blossom, and how'd you get it to start?
Oh, well, in my first deal, actually, I was initially working with a partner in that deal, and he kind of flaked out in the
Mm,
end, and I ended up, well, I didn't intend to do that first deal by myself, but I did. So that
yeah.
was a partnership that did not work. And I have to say I got lucky. Looking for deals, you know this is that a lot of them, you look at a lot of deals, you even may get a couple under contract, but they fall through, during the due diligence. And so that I had a deal in Tallahassee, Florida that I went down, and a lady that mentored me at the time said there's this guy down in Florida who's with our mentor, and he'd be happy to come and maybe work with you on this deal. And that deal ended up falling through. And I can remember he was driving me back to my hotel, and he said, he's in the car, and he's like, do would you ever be interested in raising money? just doing capital raising for me. And I was like, yeah, absolutely. I would love that. And, he just happens to be a good person. I have to say, and my husband tells me this, that I've been very lucky in this business. I've picked good partners, than this one in particular. And I've just been lucky. I've had really great mentors, and that is another thing I'd encourage anyone that's getting into the syndication space is get a mentor, because I have again been really lucky with people who've taught me a lot. So yeah.
Absolutely. No, I heard that. I've heard that echoed. That same sentiment echoed across many different guests. Is that you can pick up a book, you can watch YouTube videos, until your face turns blue, but you're never really going to know first until you do the deal, and second, it's the information just comes better to you when it comes from a mentor, somebody who's been there and done that, because they can fill in those gaps that you can't know you don't know if you're reading a book or anything like that. So.
Yep. And especially I think in the capital raising space, they're just like I said, our mentor was very good at training, but again, the capital raising is usually something where people just say, if you find a deal, the money will come. And that is there's nothing further from the truth than that. And I went through a lot of trial and error, and a lot of it to get to where I am now.
So on that first deal you guys did, did you guys do a full raise, or were you just raising for the down payment? How did that work out?
Yep, we raise. Our strategy is we get the financing, and then we raise the difference from the investors and the closing costs and all that stuff.
Gotcha. I love it. So, why don't we talk about your strengths? Raising capital, that's your bread and butter. That's where you shine. A lot of people struggle with this because they don't have the network. They just don't know how to present their deal. So what are some big lessons that you learned, especially with the first few deals that you did, raising capital?
A lot of what I've learned, a lot of what not to do. I remember, that was 2019. I was raising, and I was like, well, I'm gonna, this conference is coming up, this real estate conference, and I'm gonna raise all my money at this conference. And that was not the case. I think I got one investor out of that, but I think I really thought that if I just hit all the real estate, meetups, real estate, anything related to real estate, and I can tell you I got 0 investors from that. So I can tell you, don't spend your time in that arena.
That makes sense, because every time I don't go to them anymore, but I used to go to a ton of meetups when I just started. And I found that people that go to the real estate meetups are basically wholesalers. They're ones that are, people who don't have big deals that they're working on. They're just trying to find deals. And so that's just funny because it makes sense.
It is. Yeah. So I just, I was lucky enough to sort of, I had my network within my insurance agency. So I didn't raise from my clients per se, but I had friends who gave me insurance deals, and I went to one in particular because I know he's done very well financially, and just said, this is what I'm getting into. And he said, well, why don't you come and talk to me and some of my friends? And I was like, sure. And again, very green at this time. And I sit down with, it was 5 men at a table, and I was just peppered with questions. And I remember coming back to my office in the insurance world, and my mom happened to be in the office at the time, and I was like, oh God, I just blew it, Mom. I was like with this group, and I just blew it. But I just, I followed through with everybody I met at that meeting, and the one guy came through with $300,000 to invest in my first deal. And so, and then from him, he's referred, I don't know, 4 or 5 different people. So definitely, just get out there. Even if you think you're not doing a good job, you got to keep doing it. But then I met another mentor who raises probably close to $100 million a year. And he's kind of filled in the blanks for me, which is just, you have to build a network of people, and you have to continually put content out, which you're doing a great job with the podcast. That's, a super way of doing that. On my website, I have blogs, and I have little educational videos and stuff like that. But you just kind of have to put yourself out there as an expert, and now I am, and so that's how I get my clients, is just kind of them learning about me and learning about now you have a track record, which makes it a little bit easier as well, because you can show what you've done in the past. Because those first few deals, it was hard. My first real deal that I did with my partner was a retail deal in 2019. So that was before COVID, but still retail, people were not wanting to get involved in retail at all. So that was a tough one.
Yeah. And I mean, just what you said, there's a problem with the chicken and the egg kind of issue where, you've never done a deal but you need to get the money to do the deal in order to show that you've done deals. And that's always really hard. That's why, I'm kind of on the boat with, I think it's Grant Cardone who says, start with a 15 unit minimum. I get that. I get where he's going there. Really, sitting with single family isn't doing you any good, but it is good to have something successful in your past, just to say, hey, I've done this. I bought this house, I flipped it. I have been in real estate before. So I get where you're going there. So the next question I want to ask is, about the, sorry, I lost my place here. Sometimes when I'm talking, I'm trying to listen, but I'm also trying to think of what I'm going to ask next.
Yeah, sure.
It completely goes out of my mind. All right. So earlier you talked about being a landlord.
Yes.
And you've completely switched over, so you're in the capital raising business. The question that kind of pops up into my mind is, it goes to show that everybody on a team in a real estate investment firm, they all have their roles. So how would you go about suggesting people come up with their team? Because somebody does have to operate the deals. It sounds like you guys have somebody who, your partner finds the deals, he does the due diligence, you raise the capital. I'm sure you guys have somebody for operations.
He does operations too. He kind of, that's what he likes to do. He just loves, he's kind of a control freak. So he likes to be in charge of everything. I definitely participate, and, I know what's going on, but I don't prefer doing the day-to-day stuff. But I think actually to find your team, I think now this is opposite of raising money, but I think going to some syndicated real estate conferences do attract a really nice group of people in there, but they're usually all looking for money. But you can find people that are good at finding deals. You can find, people, with different skill sets. I know that I'll be going to a real estate conference in Texas in, I think, October. And I certainly plan to, talk to people about my ability to raise money. And I'm sure I might connect with, another great person who, I'm not solely tied to my partner there. I'm happy to do other deals because now the money is coming in. I probably have more money available to me than we have for deals.
Yep. Makes sense. And I like earlier that you mentioned content. When you want to raise money, you can't wait until you have the deal. You have to start developing those relationships, because really just getting in front of people, showing what you're doing is creating that the initial step of that relationship. So if you just post online, anything that you do for your investments, like if you go walk a property, just take a picture, put it on your Facebook, say, hey, I walked this property, check it out, it's crazy. It just shows people what you're doing. It shows them that you're in real estate and that you when it comes to the point that you actually need to raise that money, they'll have a mental image of you as an investor. And
That's yep. That's 100%. That's a great point. Yep. For sure.
Yep, I love that you said that. So we're going to move on. We have already gone through our 20-minute mark. That means it's time for the quick question round. Are you ready?
Yes.
Sure. All right. We always start with books. We are big bookies here. So why don't you give me 2 of your favorite books, one for real estate and then one for general life wisdom.
Okay. I love Killing Sacred Cows. That's Garrett Gunderson, if you've heard of it.
No.
Yeah, the name sounds harsh, but it's it's a fantastic book. That I would put that more on personal, I guess, because it really talks about the mindset of wealthy people and how they view money, and how if you want to become wealthy, that you need to be killing some sacred cows, which refers to people's views on money. That we've been raised to think about money in a certain way, that actually, if you want to become wealthy, you need to actually change some of your beliefs. So that's sort of that one. And then I currently am reading Oversubscribed, which is, I apologize, I don't know the author, but I'm sure you can pull it up. But it's a fantastic book if you're interested in raising capital or even being successful in your business, because it just talks about how to make people kind of raving fans and how to get, people. For us, getting people into our deals, getting oversubscribed means we have too many people, so
it's flowing over. I like that.
That's it. Yeah, it's a great book.
So Killing Sacred Cows and Oversubscribed. I haven't heard of either of those books, which is awesome, because usually people suggest like Rich Dad, Poor Dad. But this is good. These are unique books. I'm going to have to check them out.
Yeah, they are great.
All right, moving on. And this one is for your younger self. So if you could go back to the Stephanie who had no idea about real estate, she was just entering her 30s, didn't know that she was going to be into real estate in the future, go to her, give her one piece of advice moving forward.
Before we continue on with today's guest, I want to tell you guys about a community I'm launching on School to help investors like yourself grow your own portfolio. In this community, you'll get access to all the docs I use, all the systems I've built, everything I've used to grow my own portfolio, as well as instructions and guidance on how to get out there and find great deals, how to finance those deals, and then how to manage them for great returns. Since we're just launching it, the price will be set at a measly $20 per month, and whatever price you join at is the price you'll have for life. We will be increasing the price as the group grows, so if you're at all interested in growing your portfolio along other investors, now is the time to join. I will put the link somewhere in the bio or on our podcast website at therealestateinvestingclub.com, so if you are interested, head on over there. With that said, let's get back to the podcast.
Go big, go, don't stay in the single family space. I wish I would have started in the multifamily space much earlier, in the syndicated space. I love everything about it, being able to invest as a group. What a fantastic idea that, what we can do together is bigger than anything we could do by ourselves. And so I love that.
Absolutely. Couldn't have said it better myself. Go big.
Yeah.
All right. Next question is about habits. Habits are the foundation of our life. So if you could point to one thing that you do day in and day out that you feel kind of contributes the most to your overall health, well-being, happiness, what would that be?
I think, I'm a persistent person. I think, I guess that's probably not a habit so much as I keep a schedule. I know a lot of people in real estate, they're sort of here and there and everywhere. And I've just always been a really hard worker. And I believe that you need to time block. That's been the biggest thing for me in this last year for content creation, because there's it takes a lot of time, and you just have to be kind of religious about your schedule and work it like a job, because that's what it is.
Yep. Yeah. Especially when it comes to content creation, I feel like
Yeah.
if you just block it out and get it done, then it just lends itself very well to schedules. Like real estate, I understand, because real estate is kind of dependent upon the external world. Like,
Right.
you have to go out there and do stuff. But content creation, jot it down, get it in your calendar, block it out a piece of time, and you can get it done. You can get it out there, and it can start working for you. So great pieces of advice. And this one is the second to last question. It's about the United States. There's United States there. I don't know how many square miles there are, but there's a lot of them out there, which means there's a lot of places to buy property. So what area in the U.S. are you most excited about buying your next investment property?
Florida. Yeah, we've done almost all of ours in Florida. We're doing a little bit of everything. We've done retail there. Now we're doing a home development, and I'm currently raising money for a multifamily project there. And I love it. I love Florida for all the reasons everybody wants to move there. Especially through COVID, it was a savior, honestly, because they kept their economy, however we feel about politics, but they kept their economy going, and therefore the retail that we owned there did fantastic. Whereas, if you had owned in California or
Portland.
somewhere else, or New York, that shut down for a year. I mean, these people are having to pay their investor or give their investors back the money and walk away from their deal, which is devastating. So it really does matter where you invest. You really need to know if the government there is pro-business. I can't even stress that more.
And Florida has a great government, but it also just has great standard statistics. Like the fundamentals of Florida, the net migration is just going through the roof. So that's a great place to be. All right, last question. This is for the listeners, because you've given us a lot of great advice. I'm sure people out there want to reach out and say hi. What's the best way for them to get in contact with you?
On my website, I have like commonly asked questions that I get like all the time. So I've started posting, I won't call them podcasts, but they're just little videos where I answer really commonly asked questions. So you can go to Ask Stephanie. Stephanie is STEPHANIE now.com. Or you can, that's right within my website, which is www.erbewealth.com. Like I mentioned before, there's just tons of content there to just get started to looking into syndication.
Perfect. I love it. So that is erbewealth.com. I will put that in the show notes. So if you guys are listening, watching, you want to reach out to Stephanie, go ahead and click that little more in the description. It'll pop down the full description. In there, you can find Stephanie's URL. Click through and say hi to her. So Stephanie, thank you very much for coming and hanging out on the show. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. A great show.
Absolutely. For everybody who's here with us today, thank you guys for showing up. You are the reason that we do this, so we appreciate having you here. If you have any questions whatsoever, reach out to me, Gabe at therealestateinvestingclub.com. Other than that, I hope you guys have a great week. Keep rocking real estate, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Real Estate Investing Club. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode as much as I enjoyed putting it on, and we're able to pull some actionable advice that you can apply in your own investing today in the field. Before you go, we have a gift for you. If you're a new investor looking to get started, or an established investor looking to take your investing to the next level, I've created an ebook just for you, available on our website. This ebook will cover how I was able to create both active and passive income in real estate with very little money to start with. In it, I will address the 3 most often cited obstacles new and veteran investors run into by showing you how to find deals that are actually deals, how to finance a deal with little to no money down, and how to exit those deals for maximum value. And if you get the ebook today, I am throwing in a bundle of bonuses, 7 of them to be exact, The first one will be the off-market lead generation blueprint, which will take you through the exact systems and processes we use to generate off-market leads like clockwork, which is the most important skill when it comes to creating wealth in real estate. The second bonus is the A to Z REI systems and vendors guide, which will allow you to peek under the hood of our business and see the exact tools, systems, and even the vendors we use to see the success that we do. And the third bonus is the top 100 best performing keywords pack, which will give you the exact keywords we use to target motivated sellers online using PPC ads. The fourth bonus is our contracts bundle for wholesaling and renting real estate, which will give you access to all the contracts we use in the field to execute all different types of transactions. After that is the Investors Quick Analysis Calculator and Offer Tool, which will allow you to quickly calculate whether a deal is an actual deal and will allow you to create an offer automatically from those calculations. This is a lot of bonuses that I said. I'm just going to keep going down the list. Number 6 is the Investors Daily Success Tracker, which is a tracker you can use to ensure you are taking the right actions day in and day out to reach your financial goals in real estate. And the last bonus is the Wholesalers Template for Quick Assignment Cash, which will give you the templates we use to present our wholesale deals professionally and efficiently to our buyers. Whew, that is a bundle. So it's a mouthful. You get all of those bonuses for free when you download the ebook. All we charge is the admin cost to run the show. So if you're interested in the ebook and the bonus bundle, head on over to the website at therealestateinvestingclub.com. Click on Get the ebook bundle at the top of the page to take advantage of that deal. And with that said, I hope you have a fantastic day and even better week. Keep rocking real estate, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.
All right, before I officially sign off, I have a quick announcement to make. If you're interested in becoming a passive investor in one of my deals, my own company, Kaizen Properties, is looking for capital partners for our upcoming projects. We invest in what are known as recession-resistant assets, mainly self-storage facilities, mobile home and RV parks, and industrial properties. If you're interested in investing and would like to learn a little bit more about my company, our investing criteria, and some of the previous projects we've done, go to the Real Estate Investing Club podcast at therealestateinvestingclub.com and scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page. Click on the Invest With Us button. That'll pop up the investor form. Fill that out, and we will reach back out to you as soon as we can. Or if you prefer a little bit more of a personal touch, you can reach out to me at gabe@therealestateinvestingclub.com. So really, that is it. Again, it was a pleasure hanging out with you guys during this episode, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.